Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Mr. William Kidd, the Director of United States Army Installation Management Command for Training, welcome to the United States Army Garrison Fort Hamilton Change of Command Ceremony. This morning, Col Brian Jacobs will relinquish command of the United States Army Garrison Fort Hamilton to Col Misty Cantwell. During today's ceremony, the fireboat from the Fire Department of New York City will render a salute to Col Brian Jacobs in appreciation for his outstanding service as the Garrison Commander and to the community of Fort Hamilton and the New York City metropolitan area. A salute will also be rendered to Col Misty Cantwell by the Fire Department of New York City as a welcome gesture as she assumes command of the United States Army Garrison Fort Hamilton. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to recognize and welcome several distinguished guests attending today's ceremony. Major General Raymond Shields, the Adjutant General of the New York National Guard. Brigadier General Lloyd and Mrs. Stacy Lloyd. Brigadier General Lloyd is the Commanding General of the United States Army Corps of Engineers, North Atlantic Division, and is also the Senior Responsible Officer for the Garrison. Brigadier General Isabel R. Smith, Director of the Joint Staff of New York Joint Force Headquarters. Command Sergeant Major Phil Barretto, United States Military Academy at West Point, Command Sergeant Major. Mr. Ron Schindel, the Civilian Aide to the Secretary of the Army for New York South. Ms. Lori Windsor, representing Congresswoman Nicole Maliotakis. New York State Senator Ewen Chu. New York State Senator Jessica Scarcella Spanton. Also present are New York State Assembly members Alec Brooke Krasny, William Colton, and Lester Chang. And representing Assemblyman Michael Tanusis is Hanane Dibajat. And a very warm welcome to our Gold Star families here today. In addition to these esteemed guests, we welcome our other senior Army leaders, senior non-commissioned officers, service members, other members of our sister services, community leaders, civilians, family, friends, and associates of Colonel and Mrs. Jacobs and Colonel Cantwell. We would also like to extend a special welcome to the members of the Garrison team who have joined us today. Thank you all for attending. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the singing of the national anthem by Miss Scarlett London Divini and remain standing for the invocation delivered by Chaplain Major Jonathan Bailey.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the
I invite you to join your hearts with me as we give thanks. Let us pray. Almighty God, we thank you for the privilege we have this morning to celebrate the change of command for United States Army Garrison Fort Hamilton from Colonel Jacobs to Colonel Cantwell. According to AR 600-20, a commander provides purpose, direction, and motivation to those under their command. We are grateful that for the past 2 years, Colonel Jacobs has done that with passion patience, and persistence. Fort Hamilton has been blessed by his commitment and love, not only from him, but also from his family that they have shown time and time again. We ask that you be with Colonel Jacobs and his family as they carry their gifts to a new community at Fort Bliss. Additionally, we are thankful to welcome Colonel Cantwell and pray you would bless her as she assumes the mantle of command. Grant her an increase of wisdom, discernment, and perseverance to excel in the challenges ahead. Finally, we remember all those deployed throughout the world and their families. Be with them and keep them as they stand watch for freedom and justice. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please be seated. On behalf of the soldiers, civilians, and family members of the United States Army Garrison Fort Hamilton, Staff Sergeant Rafael Rodriguez is presenting a bouquet of bloomed red roses to Mrs. Jacobs with sincere appreciation for her support to Colonel Jacobs during this demanding assignment and his military career. The bloomed red roses symbolize the bonds of loyalty and affection that have bloomed between the Garrison team and the commander's spouse during Colonel Jacobs' tenure. On behalf of the soldiers, civilians, and family members of the United States Army Garrison Fort Hamilton, Sergeant Edward Preston is presenting a bouquet of yellow flowers to Mrs. Rosemary Cantwell, mother of Colonel Cantwell, and to Mrs. Erin Grimm, sister of Colonel Cantwell, welcoming them to the Fort Hamilton community. From ancient times, armies throughout the world have conducted ceremonies to commemorate victories over enemies, honor comrades in arms, and celebrate special occasions as we are doing today. These ceremonies have added color and pageantry to military life while preserving tradition and stimulating esprit de corps. The Continental Army established the foundation by which our present-day ceremonies are performed, and today's ceremony is an enactment of an Army tradition that is 249 years old. It reaffirms the concept that the Army is perpetuated on time-honored values and traditions, and not on the accomplishments of individuals. Today, you will witness a small part of that tradition as the garrison colors and command authority of the United States Army Garrison Fort Hamilton are passed from one leader to another. The Non-Commissioned Officer Corps has always been the key link between the officers who provide intent and the soldiers and civilians who execute. In recognition of their essential role in the success of the Garrison Command, the most senior non-commissioned officer in the Garrison, Command Sergeant Major Christopher Hill, will assist in the transfer of the Garrison colors. The change of command is a simple, traditional event that is rich with symbolism and heritage. The key to the ceremony is the passing of the Garrison colors. These Garrison colors represent not only the lineage and honors of the Garrison Command, but also the loyalty and unity of its soldiers and civilians. The Garrison colors are the Garrison Commander's symbol of authority, representing their responsibilities to the organization. Wherever the Garrison Commander is, there also are the Garrison colors. The custodian of the Garrison colors is the Garrison Command Sergeant Major, who is the senior enlisted soldier in the Garrison Command and principal advisor to the Garrison Commander. The passing of the Garrison colors symbolizes the transfer of authority from the outgoing commander to the incoming commander. The passing of the colors demonstrates to the soldiers and civilians of the unit that the outgoing Garrison Commander has passed the mantle of leadership to the new Garrison Commander. And with this, also passes the loyalty of the soldiers and civilians to their new Garrison Commander. By the authority of Army Regulation 600-20, paragraph 2-3, the undersigned assumes command of the United States Army Garrison Fort Hamilton, effective 18 July 2024. Signed, Melissa M. Cantwell, Colonel, Military Police, Commanding. Command Sergeant Major Hill is now passing the Garrison colors to Colonel Jacobs, the outgoing commander, signifying the last official act between the Garrison Command Sergeant Major and the Garrison Commander. Colonel Jacobs is passing the colors to Mr. Kidd, signifying a successful completion of command. Mr. Kidd is passing the colors to Colonel Cantwell, the incoming commander, charging her with the responsibility for the unit as its new garrison commander. Colonel Cantwell is passing the colors to Command Sergeant Major Hill, symbolizing her first official act with the Garrison Command Sergeant Major and her trust in the unit's non-commissioned officers, corps, and civilians, thus completing the change of command. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. William Kidd, Director of the United States Army Installation Management for Command and Training.
Wow, what a crowd here today. What a beautiful morning here in New York. Distinguished guests, soldiers, civilians, and friends of the U.S. Army Garrison here at beautiful Fort Hamilton, good morning. See, they told me you wouldn't say that. Yeah. So you could tell in the first, where it took me, at least 30 seconds to give a 10-second salutation, that I'm not from around here. I am from L.A., Lower Alabama, but I have a bit of a connection with this community in some way, because I saw the young lieutenant taking the photographs and had that rainbow patch on, and so my grandfather came up, in another century and served in the 42nd Infantry Division as part of the 4th Alabama, one of the regiments there, and. The only story that he would tell about the war was when they did a little exchange and they sent him to eat in the mess hall with people from one of the New York regiments. And he says, I don't know. I just asked, hey, please pass the jelly. And everybody laughed. He says, I don't get it. And we never did understand what he was talking about. But what I have been struck with as we're here today is the outpouring of love and commitment and the closeness of this community here. And I just would say I just came from doing a similar change of command in Fort Huachuca, Arizona, and they have beach but no water. And I have never seen horses at changes of command and cannons at changes of command, but I've never seen a fireboat. So you've one-upped the rest of the Army here today. It's a great honor for me to be here today and take part of this time-honored tradition in this historical place. You'll note that as part of this, although many of you have military experience, you'll note it's a little different. We call this in Installation Management Command a self-serve color guard, because as you see with installation management, we try to conserve the Army's combat power, its manpower and military strength to apply to the missions of defending the nation. And so instead, we apply the skilled hands and steady hands of our Army civilians, our contractors, and volunteers, to run our installations, and that's the same here at Fort Hamilton. We have a small staff here at this installation, and that small staff is applied to running this installation while we're in here today. So you won't see too many of them here, and I don't think they'd have it any other way. They're committed to all the missions that are here at Fort Hamilton in serving both the soldiers, but also the missions in this entire community. So, yeah, give them a hand, please. So, when I look out here, but I also look, out in the window to the world that we have out here for this great city and state of New York, as well as the community that wraps itself around Fort Hamilton, I gain a sense of the 200 years of tradition that we have here at at Fort Hamilton in our relationship with the largest city and economic engine of the United States. It has also been the window, the threshold of democracy for so many, for so long. And that commitment continues into this century. And we've had our ups and downs, but one thing that's sure, that together y'all have created something here that's unique and special. And it's truly a special place. That commitment that you have brought you here today, and I want to thank some. I can't thank everyone here, but all of you have contributed to the success of this installation and the leadership here. I would also be remiss if not to mention the United States Military Command, the Military Academy, our senior command here, as well as the Corps of Engineers for their continued leadership and support of us here here at Fort Hamilton. We just couldn't do our job without you, so thank you. The awesome ceremony that we just participated in, it took a lot of hands to create. Some of them are in the room still buzzing around, and you can see them in the background, but also outside of this room here. And we need to thank them for all their hard work. But even the folks that have participated, the chaplain and of course our wonderful soloists, let's give them a hand. Thank you. So we just witnessed the transfer of command between two great leaders, and I just want to speak about that for just a moment, if we could. So that is not done haphazardly, just like it is in all walks of life. It's done deliberately so that no gaps or seams are done. So there's quite a bit of coordination done, and I participated in some of that yesterday between Colonel Cantwell and Colonel Jacobs. And part of that was talking about housing and both our future, but what we're doing now, to support our service members here at Fort Hamilton, not just within the base, but outside the base with housing. And I saw the home where, on Colonel's Row, where Colonel and Ms. Jacobs and the family live, and then also the new homes that are being prepared. And you remember and understand that a soldier just like Colonel Jacobs put everything they love into a little house somewhere, whether it's a 100-year-old house or a brand new one, and then they go off to work. And there's a saying in the Army that our families live on Earth, but soldiers work on Mars. Defending this nation and leading those that do is a tough, complex, and unyielding way of life. It's not a profession. It's not a job. You commit yourself totally to it. It's the life that you live. And it demands excellence in every step that you take. Achieving competence is not enough. You have to be the best, doing the best each and every day. And the best is what Fort Hamilton got with Col Brian Jacobs. He's a wise and seasoned commander, so his leadership focused on people, and Col Jacobs invested in them to build a high-performing team here that enabled Fort Hamilton to do many things, including breaking ground on $6.5 million worth of new housing, a new state-of-the-art information systems facility, and renovate a lot of the key infrastructure that we do here to support soldiers and their families and the missions that we have here. But that team that he led, that wasn't enough. They knew that they couldn't just use the resources the Army provided them. They needed other help. So they reached out to this community who blessed us with their support, unyielding support in everything that they did. And with that, they garnered, better child care for our service members and children. It strengthened the resilience of Fort Hamilton, both in utilities and emergency services, and then built what is recognized by the Army, the best morale and welfare construct that we have within all of our 100 installations in the active duty Army. In short, please give yourself an applause because you were the ones that made that happen. In short, this garrison did it all and did it superbly, guided by this great leader here, by the clear eyes and the steady hands of Col Brian Jacobs. So when you do a good job, you're usually rewarded with more work. And so we took the opportunity to harness his leadership for part of the time he was here. He didn't just command Fort Hamilton, but he also commanded the garrison at West Point for about 6 months. Yeah, don't try that in your spare time. But he did that superbly. He's truly an exceptional leader. Now, good leaders, charge hard at the mission at hand, but the harder you charge, the less accurate you are. So he needed balance and he needed a little direction. And so his lovely wife, Tiffany, and his sons, Reese and Casey, were there every step of the way, keeping him well grounded and connected and on azimuth as he served this nation in this garrison. Tiffany, thank you for your grace, care, and compassion and commitment to this great installation. Your service, both working with your husband, but also as the First Lady here at Fort Hamilton, will be felt for a long time. So thank you. So Brian, mission complete. Well done. Your leadership has made all the difference here and will be felt long into the future. We wish you the best as you head to Texas to rejoin the air defense community at Fort Bliss. There'll be plenty of beach out there, not much water, and no fire boats that I saw the last time I was there. But we're lucky in the Army that we have many great leaders, and we warmly welcome Col Misty Cantwell to the MCOM team. She's a highly experienced military police officer and leader who served in many demanding roles across the world in just about everything that you can think the Army has done over the last quarter century. Most recently, she worked in leadership, planning, and operations roles there at the Military Academy in West Point. And I would say if you were going to go through a resume, if you ever want to justify someone's leadership, try leading 5,000 teenagers. See how that works. So I don't think you need to worry about buying a jersey. You've earned it already. So thank you. Colonel Cantwell, I'm confident that you'll lead this garrison with distinction, but I have to give you 3 pieces of advice, and so they're pretty simple and easy to remember. Installation management is a team sport, and you see it right here in this room. You can't do it alone. You're going to have to reach out, and people will join you just because they want to be part of your team. What will close the gap between the resources that are available and the mission that's at hand are the people that you lead. So invest in them and lead wisely in everything that you do, and they will pay you back and this garrison back completely. And so with that, the most important one is this garrison has a lot of talented people, but it only has one commander, and that would be you. Never forget that. So I don't command anyone in this room here. As a matter of fact, I don't command anyone. But I am going to give you 2 assignments. Okay, so the first one, wrap your arms around Colonel Cantwell and this garrison. They will need your help just like you have always done to make this a great community to live and work in and to serve this nation and the city of New York and the state here. And then the second one is, while you're here today, not tomorrow because you don't own tomorrow, but today, thank one of these soldiers or one of these civilians that serve here at Fort Hamilton for the work they do to serve our nation. You won't regret it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been an honor to be with you here today, and I thank you for all the tremendous support that you give us here. May God bless you, the great American Army, and our great nation. We are the Army's home.
Ladies and gentlemen, the outgoing garrison commander, Col Brian Jacobs.
Wow. Wow. Kevin, a little more volume, Kevin? All right, sorry. Hey, good morning, everybody. Can you hear me? All right. Hey, good morning. All right, check. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 1, 1. Okay, thanks. Hey, good morning again. Hey, before I have a few remarks here, let's give did Scarlett leave? Where's Little Whitney? Okay, let's give our singer Scarlett, aka Little Whitney Houston, another round of applause. Scarlett, that was awesome as always. Thank you so much for blessing us with your incredible instrument and honoring our country in such a beautiful way. Distinguished visitors, guests, families, and friends of Fort Hamilton, thank you all for your presence today. Your presence and support here today is yet another example and reminder how connected and special this community truly is. So thank you. So I do have a few remarks. As most of our garrison knows, I'm a man of very few words. Thought that would make it. No, seriously, I would truly do my best to keep my remarks brief for really two reasons. One, changes of command speeches are simply about saying thank you. And two, most importantly, I do not want to cheat Colonel Cantwell out of any of these precious seconds and minutes of this incredible experience of being a commander at Fort Hamilton. So these 2 years have truly flown by. While the time did fly by, I really tried to embrace every second of this experience as an Army leader in this incredible community and great city. My family and I were to depart this great city and borough with a lot of misconceptions dispelled, somewhat of a new dialect, thanks Lord, and we'll all be a few pounds heavier thanks to the world's best bagels and pizzas here in Brooklyn. Yeah, can't clap for that, Mr. Barcelona. So while Hollywood movies and their depiction of New York does get most things right, such as the beautiful sounds of cars honking, or the cool ways to pronounce words like diker, right? And even the occasional forget about it. I really do wish, however, Hollywood would show more of the tremendous and sincere patriotism of this incredible city and the surrounding community. Yeah. The American flag flies high and proud throughout the neighborhoods outside of Fort Hamilton. And there wasn't a soul around that wouldn't stop me to say thank you and to always offer any possible help to our service members and their families here on Fort Hamilton. As is the case with most Army leaders, I too was not on this journey as a commander alone. I was joined, loved, and supported by the best family, friends, leaders, and community I could ever ask for. Please indulge me for a few minutes while I recognize some of them here in attendance. Before that, let me first thank my incredible family for their love and support for these last 2 years, and since birth, as in my parents' case. So glad to have both my parents here in attendance. And you see, these two young people are simply the reason why my transition to West Point in the Army was so seamless. They not only taught me to pray, but at a young age, they taught me the Army values long before I raised my right hand to recite the oath of office. Love you both. Thank you for being here. My wife, Tiffany, Reese, and Casey, thank you all for making life sweeter and more precious by the day. Thank you all for being great teammates on our journey as an Army family and on this journey of life. Love you very much. Yeah. So I have quite a few close friends of mine that travel from out of town. Some just made it in about 4 hours ago, thanks to the LGA's closure. But through the weather, but I'm glad they made it. Many of these men wear the colors of red and white very proudly as members of Kappa Alpha Psi, my fraternity. So thankful and grateful to have them here with their families. Yeah, thanks. Additionally, my very good friend Kate Walker is here. She also wears red and white as a proud alumni of a very, very small SEC school in Georgia that I, as a Floridian, shall not acknowledge. Thanks, Kate, for rarely missing any of these special moments in both my career and life. Thank you. A couple other surprises. My West Point roommate and former Army football player Mark Angle's here. Thanks, Mark, for being here, brother. Also very surprised to see my former PAO, Connie Dillon, all the way from Colorado. Thanks, Connie, for being here. Appreciate it. Brigadier General Lloyd and Stacy Lloyd, beyond words thankful for your advice, friendship, and support to the Jacobs family and this garrison. Sir, we hit the jackpot with you as our SRO and the NAD commander. Since day one, you gave me the confidence and trust to lead this garrison, and you were always on standby to support if needed. Thank you again, sir. And hands down, Miss Stacy, you still make the best enchiladas ever. So that was our first meal at Fort Hamilton, by the way, from the Lloyds. Thank you. I was also blessed with an all-star class of exceptional congressional, state, and city elected and appointed officials and leaders. You are all truly first class. Your trips back and forth to D.C., City Hall, and Albany to fight for your constituents in this garrison and our vets were second to none. Thank you for always never forgetting about our service members and the families here in Fort Hamilton. Quite a few organizations to shout out. I'll do my best to be quick but sincere in recognition. I'm going to do this Commissioner Hendon style, rapid speed. I learned from the best. So Justin Batt, our incredible Harbor Defense Team, AFES, Commissary, USO, Red Cross, Wounded Warriors, Blue Star families, and our beloved Gold Star families. A few are in attendance today. The Olases, thanks for being here. Where's Dr. Mecca? Emily Toro, thank you all. NYPD, of course, 68, 62nd precincts, your respective community councils, the awesome leaders that make up community boards 10 and 11, the Dyker Heights Civic Association, the Fort Hamilton Citizen Action Committee, our wonderful schools, districts 20 and 75, our schools 104, 264, and other surrounding schools. Thank you so much. Additionally, our city and federal partners, the entire FDNY team, such an incredible team, Con Ed, DEP, DEC, TBTA, that beautiful bridge there. Thank you all for keeping me up at night and transporting over 20,000 vehicles every day safely across that terrific civic feat. Our partners here on, yeah, thank you. Let's go give Viviana. Yeah, thanks. Our partners here on the installation, 24CST, the NAD, NYC District, USACE, Alex Young and his team, MEPS, 1179th, our Reserve and National Guard teammates in Building 212, Joint Task Force Empire Shield, our joint service partners, New York Sector Coast Guard team, the Marines, and yes, even the Navy. Thank you for, be Navy. All right, so I had to say that, so it's in my DNA. Thank you all for embracing me as a commander of this garrison. Thank you for your partnership and support. Yeah. To our garrison team and all our directors and supporting staff, I will miss you all the most, but will cherish each and every moment of our memories, successes, and achievements. I won't even try to list all the things we accomplished during my short time. The number in this list is endless, such as my failure as being completely transparent and honest, so are some of my shortcomings as a commander, such as my failure as a commander to tame our large population of squirrels that would rather eat boxed lunches from the MEPS and AFES chocolate than their natural food source of nuts and berries. So I couldn't quite accomplish that. And another one I'm not very proud of as a failure is trying to work alongside our 68, 62nd precinct teammates to permanently but safely involuntarily displace the human alarm clock on the Beltway that blessed many of our residents with his drum solos every morning. Yeah. In all seriousness, the professionals of this garrison are truly the best. Overseeing and managing the services and programs of an Army garrison is no easy task. It's certainly not for individuals without passion and unwavering commitment and selflessness, attributes that you all certainly possess. Unfortunately, the most significant and critical things you all do are often not seen or acknowledged, such as the countless number of incidences that were thwarted by our DES team on our gates or anywhere on this garrison. or the millions of diapers changed by our CYPAs and countless numbers of falls and spills that were averted by the careful watch of these incredible teammates that work daily to provide safe and quality spaces for the precious children, our service members. You see, so much of what happens in Army Garrison doesn't get applauses and oftentimes rarely gets a thank you. But don't ever feel sorry for these patriots. While outside recognition is always appreciated and respected, this team never required it for fuel or purpose. Their purpose was much more grounded and enduring, and I'm in all of you. Proud and honored to have been your commander. I was blessed with two of the finest Army NCOs. Great to have them both here. CSM Commons and Hill, you are simply the best. Almost everything I learned in my career about being an Army leader of soldiers came from exceptional non-commissioned officers. I think every officer would say that. You two were no different with your unconditional, timely, and wise counsel. Thank you both sincerely and deeply. Our deputy experience here at Fort Hamilton was interesting. I had quite a few of them, both temporary and permanent. My two permanent deputies, Mr. Walker and Mr. Santiago, thank you both. Thank you for the commitment and being living representations of the civilian creed. The success of this garrison rested on your soldiers' shoulders. Thank you both for never letting us down. Trevor, Mike, and Bert, thank you all for always being ready and on standby to answer the call of deputy duties. Not a murmur or complaint came from any of you in your performance of those duties. Thank you. Little known fact, I had several technical and historical advisors here on Fort Hamilton. The two that wouldn't hesitate with their advice, smiles and laughs, Miss Madeline and Miss Viviana. Yeah. Where's Madeline? Hey, thank you both, for memories and talks and advice that will last me a lifetime. The executive assistants I had to put up with this fast-talking colonel from Florida, God bless you for that. Dana Dominica, my XO Jerry, thank you for the support, the loyalty, and compassion. I will miss our front office talks, your advice, the laughs, the unwavering support. I wish you all the best, and I'm always here for it if you ever need me. Colonel Cantwell, Misty, hey, have fun. Hey, enjoy and embrace this journey with this incredible team of professionals. I wish you and your family the best. Command time is fleeting, and it will fly by. Please enjoy every second of this humbling experience. Godspeed. So in closing, I heard once that you don't always remember what people might have said or may not even remember what they did, but you never forget how they made you feel. Fort Hamilton, you made me and my family feel valued and appreciated. And for that, I'm humbled. God bless Fort Hamilton, the best city in the world, New York City, of the U.S. Army, and the best country in the world, United States of America. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Garrison Commander of the United States Army Garrison, Fort Hamilton, Col Misty Cantwell.
I think I'll just use Whitney's stand. Really, please, somebody pinch me. How fortunate am I to be here before you all today. Thank you, Mr. Kidd, Brian, for your kind words and the introduction. I'm sorry, I feel really short. I needed an MRE box. Senior leaders, civic leaders, our Gold Star families, champions of Fort Hamilton, friends and family. Thank you. I am immensely honored just by your presence today. This really is the best small town and the world's greatest city, and I can't believe I get to spend the next 2 years with you. Brian, Tiffany, it's clear that you all have left an indelible mark on the Fort Hamilton community. Thank you for the warm welcome, the deliberate onboarding, probably too long, sorry, and your work in strengthening bonds, fortifying systems, and advocating for the service members, tenant units, and families. As you embark on a new chapter, please know your legacy at Fort Hamilton is one of servant leadership, care, compassion, and absolute commitment to the service members, families, staff, and this installation's mission. So I really want to personally thank you. Look, you got me going. We weren't going to do this, Brian. I don't have to ask you to applaud. You did that anyway. I also really would like to thank Lieutenant General Gillen, Lieutenant General Jones, Mr. Kidd, and the many mentors of mine that I've had for believing in me and entrusting me with this mission. Again, I'm thrilled to join the team and to serve really as an advocate and a cheerleader for Fort Hamilton. Ray and Brindy, Santiago, Sergeant Major, and Audrey Hill, it's going to be an epic adventure. Thanks for your candor and your assistance, and most of all for your patience with my many questions and endless good ideas. I promise to try and leave the wings at home. I couldn't ask for a better trio to join and serve alongside. To the champions and consummate partners of Fort Hamilton, to all our civic leaders, our tireless volunteers, and the many officials from across the interagency, thank you for attending, but most of all for your willingness to collaborate and support Fort Hamilton. I look forward to meeting and working with each of you in order to maintain the strong bonds across the region. To my family and friends, thank you. Really, your patience, your tough love, really tough love sometimes, and consummate support have made this day possible. And even when I'm whining, which is probably a lot, thanks for understanding that this crazy Army life is what I love. And now for the real reason for today's ceremony. It's not about me. Sorry, Brian, it's sort of about you, but it's not about you. Fort Hamilton, this team, this community, that's what today is all about. So I'd like to thank the staff, as well as Staff Sergeant Bond, Ms. Deviney, and the FDNY Fireboat team, who really put this ceremony together and made it extra special. Thank you very much. As we look ahead to the Garrison's bicentennial, it's not lost on me the continuous evolution of this installation, from harbor defense to troop mobilization to support to civil authorities after the horrors of 9/11 or Superstorm Sandy, to recruiting and onboarding America's finest to serve and defend. Your unassuming approach to garrison operations and professionalism makes the mission of our tenant units and the military possible. So to the past, present, and future garrison staff members, thank you for your commitment to the mission, to readiness and safety, to one another, and to serving as Liberty Sentinel for nearly 200 years. It's an honor and privilege to join your team and to work alongside you and our many partners. Liberty Sentinel, we are the Army's home.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand and join us in the singing of the Army song.
March along, sing a song, we're the army of the free. Count the brave, count the true, who have fought to victory. We're the army and proud of our name. We're the army and proudly proclaim. First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might, and the army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won, and the army goes rolling along. And it's high, high, hey, the army's on its way. Count off the cadence loud and strong. For wherever we go, you will always know that the army goes rolling along.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Director of the United States Army Installation Management Command for Training, we thank you for your attendance at today's change of command ceremony. Colonel Jacobs will receive well-wishers here in the ceremony area immediately following the ceremony, and Colonel Cantwell's receiving line will be started in the reception room next door in the Washington room immediately following the ceremony. Once again, thank you for joining us today. Fort Hamilton, the face of America's Army in New York City, Liberty Sentinel.